river creatures here. Mr. Jeff. Back down to the river. This is going to be a little walk and talk. Everybody wants to hear about the Mastodon story and how it came about, me finding it. There was a creek outside of town that I'd never hunted before, because every creek that I went down, every time I went by there was no rock. I never did get out and go. Finally, one day I went, and laying on the sand like somebody just placed it there, there's a juvenile Mastodon tooth, black. Totally no wear on it at all. And so the next rain, waited for the next rain, and I'd found some points out there, Snyder's Point, Drill out there. So it had been occupied for sure. Went back after the next rain and found a adult Mastodon's tooth. And we kept looking. Me and my buddy, he came with me. He's blind now, unfortunately, and he can't go. But a buddy of mine went with me, and we found a adult Mastodon tooth laying out just like somebody placed it there. So we knew there was a Mastodon big time in that creek. Little chip, nothing. Throw that away. Anyways, we kept going back, looking up and down that creek, thinking, oh, we're going to find the Mastodon sticking out of the bank. Hopefully. Well, it didn't rain for a couple weeks. When the next rain came, we went out there. And the thing was, in those 2 weeks, when it hadn't rained, I was having dreams, more than one, that I was going to find a Mastodon tusk out there. So after that rain, got down in the creek, and I started finding some, probably less than 1/4 of an inch thick, brown. If anybody had seen it, they thought it would be a piece of wood or something. But it had curvature to it. It was probably, the first piece I found was probably 6 to 8 inches long. And when I turned it over on the other side, it was completely white on the inside. And we found more pieces there. And believe it or not, I walked around the corner and there was the front tip of the Mastodon's tusk laying there. And it's on video. You can see it on my page. Pictures of it before I ever picked it up. We found other pieces of tusks that were just scattered all over this sandbar. And so we hunted and kept hunting, looking for where the Mastodon was at, because we knew one was in there. Kept looking. And I had permission to hunt that creek. And it had sold over the winter, which I wasn't aware of. And I come up out of the creek, and on my window there was a sticker that said, you're trespassing. Somebody put a note on there, you're trespassing, leave. Which I'm a landowner too, so I respectfully didn't go back. And just so happens, there's a kid in town that just moved to town. And he went out there, and not very far from where we found the tusk, the teeth, he found the leg bone, the big long femur bone, about 4 foot long. And like I say, in my area, other people had found Mastodon teeth, no tusk, but they've definitely found teeth around these parts. And I've actually found a mammoth tooth at a rock quarry one time. And anyway, so the kid, like I say, everybody had found Mastodon stuff around here. And so it was a big deal, but it wasn't a monster deal. And then, so the kid went out there, not very far from where I found the tusk and the teeth. He found the femur bone, and he, of course, wanted notoriety, so he got a hold of the TV station and was on TV about it. Then the University of Iowa Archaeological Department was notified, and debitage, it looks like. Let's see, we'll wash it off. Could be worked. They made stuff out of that, but that's nothing. Anyway, so I was contacted about my finds, and the University of Iowa came down, and we worked with a landowner, and it was a 2-week archaeological dig. We had all kinds of machinery there. We had cranes, we had all kinds of volunteers. Big thanks to all of them that showed up. Anyway, we worked on it for 2 weeks, and there was other parts of the Mastodon found there. There was vertebrae, some rib bones, and so the Mastodon head was took after we got it out of the creek, and it was took to the University of Iowa with the rest of my Mastodon finds, and it was all shipped out to Pennsylvania, where currently right now they're doing reproductions, which they're already done with them, and they're painting them up, and they will eventually be sent back here, and they'll be displayed at the Prairie Trails Museum in Corden, Iowa. If you're ever in Iowa, southern Iowa, one of the best museums in the state, in my opinion. Jesse James robbed the bank in Corden, Iowa, 1876. And so they got all the memorabilia from the Jesse James robbery there, plus all kinds of stuff that you couldn't imagine you could be looking for. They got a museum full of all kinds of maps, all kinds of stuff right there. Pretty cool. That's off an old wood stove. Let's flip that over one more time. So you never know what you'll find in here. That's old, for sure. There ain't no Indian artifact, but you never know in a creek. All kinds of trash. And actually, it's been broke right there. That's why it's no good. I'll put that right back in the creek where I found it. There we go. There it is. We'll leave that. No need to pack that out. But yes, the Mastodon display will be set up in 2026 of this year, or 2027 of next year. The Mastodon story actually not only went statewide, it went worldwide, and it was picked up by newspapers in France, all over the world, different places. They did TV spots about it. Like I say, when you're at a creek like this, is what you want to look for. Lots and lots of hard stone. That's what they was using. They didn't use no soft stone stuff to make tools out of because it wouldn't last. Another one of those dinosaur rocks right there. Nice and shiny, you can see that. And right beside is a piece of rose quartz. Right there, you see those? Rose quartz. Which quartz is a very, very, very hard stone to work. I've found a few pieces of sugar quartz. But I've known of guys finding some of the best points ever in Iowa that were made out of nothing. That's a faker. Looks like it should be something, but it's not. But they found some of the best points in Iowa and the sugar quartz. Very rare to find a good sugar quartz point, or any quartz point. It was so hard to ship. There's white quartz right there. You can see it right beside that red stone. Right there. There's white quartz, and this would be the red stone. Which the Indians like color, just like we like color, so always look for stuff that's pretty. Look at all those rocks. We got plenty to look at. Like I say, grab a kid. Get him off his iPhone or an iPad and find a creek. Get permission, of course, first from the landowner. Take that kid out there arrowhead hunting. Get him off of the phone. Seems like the phone is going to be the demise of our civilization. It's separated people. People don't talk to people like they used to. How we made it before cell phones, I don't know, but we sure did. Something weird right there. And it is nothing. Looks pretty cool though. We'll check it out just to check it out. That's pretty cool. It broke. Type of iron ore. Very heavy, no working around the edges. Still pretty cool. Not broke, right? Throw that right back there and keep looking. But yeah, the cell phones have separated people. Sometimes somebody sends a text to somebody and maybe they don't take it, read it the right way, take it wrong. I heard somebody say that, you know, texting somebody is just a way to talk to somebody that you really don't want to talk to. And that would have to be true. I found tons of things over my lifetime hunting arrowheads. One thing I haven't found is a pendant, a gorget. I haven't found, any Clovis stuff, unfortunately. They're here. Just very rare. A friend of mine just found a Dalton just the other day. He's part of the River Creatures team. But an old boy in town, one of my school teachers, her husband was an artifact hunter and I didn't know it. And back in the day, all the old boys around my area, they had their own creek. And the other guys in town wasn't supposed to go out and hunt their creek because everybody had their own creek. Well, anyway, so I went to my school teacher's house after he'd passed away, not knowing that he was an artifact hunter at all. And if I miss an arrowhead here in this look about, you put it in the comments. But anyway, so I went to the house after she'd passed away. And the guy had called me and said, "Hey, did you see all those Indian artifacts in that house?" And I said, "Nope." So I went to the house to look. The realtor was there. He was out of the city. The kids of my school teacher, they was just wanting to get rid of the house and the contents and sell it all as one. So we got back into a little office, and there's just a little display case there, and they had probably, I ain't kidding, probably 20 gorgets, perfect arrowheads, axes, all kinds of stuff. And about that time, the realtor walks in there and peeks over my shoulder and said, "Oh, those are Indian artifacts. Those are worth a lot of money." I said, "Well, the market's up and down. You never know." Well, anyway, so I left, and the house sold. And I went up to the guy who bought the house, and I said, "By chance, was there a bunch of artifacts in that one room in a display case?" He said, "Nope." So that tells you what happened to the Indian artifacts. You got to watch realtors when it comes to selling off personal stuff of your families. Because if they can, they'll take. And you won't know about it. I could name some other auctioneers who are the same way. Went back after a sale and had an old farmer sale, and one of the auctioneers and their buddies, they was filling up their trucks and cans full of diesel that was from the old man. Then they wanted me to help them load some stuff in there if I want to get this mattress. This is a brand new mattress. Nobody wanted to move it because it's so heavy. Brand new, never used. And he said, well, you can have that mattress as long as you can help me load some stuff. So I went out there. Like I say, this house, this auction was a big old house, and had a barn and all that stuff in it. And anyway, when we opened up the back of his trailer to load some stuff in there for him, guess what was sitting in the front of his trailer? It had been a classic motorcycle that had bird shit all over it, and hay, cobwebs, all that good stuff. So, like I say, the kids, they was in the city. They'd probably forgot long about that motorcycle. But no, the auctioneer didn't. He loaded it up without even telling them. So watch your auctioneers out there and auctions. Never buy stuff at an auction. Here's a little story for you. I knew a guy that went to there's an auction in the paper. And anytime you see an Indian artifact auction where they got everything, I mean everything, beads, pipes, you name it, you better question it. It's just a local farm sale where some farmer might have picked something up. Yeah, I'd trust that more than I would something that had everything. So I went to this auction. Before I went in, I thought, well, I'll just drive around the parking lot, because I already had my suspicions. And sure enough, in the parking lot was a truck with a little U-Haul trailer with Texas plates. And every bit of that stuff was made in Mexico, which I bought none. Never buy from an auction unless you know the guy that picked it up, the old timer, the old boy. Because they're making reproductions in Mexico. As far as that, they're making them in the States too. Heard they're making them in Missouri, making axes. Look like the real deal, but they're not. People will actually take something they've recently made and bury it in the ground so they get some soil deposits on it before they'll sell it, so it'll look more authentic. Anyway, a guy I know, he bought all that stuff. Spent $6,000, and then he found out they was fake. So he took him up to where his mom had a retail store. Cool little hammerstone right here. I'll show you. Wipe it off on my pant legs, get the sand off of it. Cool little hammerstone. You see that? Anyway, the guy took his fake artifacts up to his mom's shop in the city and marked them as authentic, sold every one. But before he did that, after he knew he'd been took $6,000, he went to an old timer in town who, as a kid, had spoiled him and took him everywhere, bought him gifts and stuff. And this old timer, he was one of the locals that had walked, and he had a monster collection. And he'd saved back like his best axes. And anyway, this cat that got ripped off, being a dummy, buying stuff, went to this old timer that had been spoiled, that spoiled him. Old boy was in his 80s, and went in there and wanted his 8 axes that he had left. The old boy was a Christian. He trusted him. Anyway, he got wrote an $8,000 IOU. And those axes were 8-pound axes, and some smaller, but most of them were 8 pounds, 6 to 8 pounds. You figure about $1,000 a pound. So we got those axes for $1,000 a piece, and probably resold them somewhere. But yeah, that's what you get into. It's one of those types of worlds where my dad used to say, I know you're going to give me a good screwing, so let's just hurry up and get it over with. You know, if you're stuck in a position, broke down on the road, and you know they're going to give it to you good, yeah, let's just get this screwing over with as quickly as possible. But yeah, people are out there today. They have no morals. That went clean out the window. Taking advantage of everybody they can. As you guys all know, watch for the scammers. That's what they do. Wake up in the morning in India, Russia, wherever. That's their daily work. So get on there and try to scam Americans out of money. I just heard a story of a lady that I know of, her daughter, and the scammers had got a hold of her and talked her into depositing money, and she did. Lost $80,000 before somebody stopped her. So, and they prey on the old people, of course, right? Maybe tell you that your family member's been kidnapped or something, anything to get you to go give them money. Don't do it. Which a lot of the old folks, they won't ever hear this story. There goes a frog. There's Mr. Frog. You don't see many frogs around this area. Let's see if I can get him up out of the water. Come on, Mr. Frog, get up out of there. There he goes. He's gone. You don't see very many frogs around. That's the only reason I'm seeing that frog is because I'm in a creek that borders a hayfield. It isn't had chemicals sprayed on it. Gotta watch it through here and it's falling into quicksand, kind of like right there. You want to double step? I didn't right there, but if you get some quicksand, you want to take a step and then put another step right in the same hole. Pack it down till you feel solid, and then you can go on. But yeah, watch yourself out in this world today. With the crazy world we live in. Seems like there's no justice anymore. You can do the wildest things to people and not serve any punishment for it. So, it's a sad day. And sad times in the United States, that's for sure. And Canada as well. If I got any Canada subscribers, I know it's bad up there. Call it Canada's stand. Where they euthanized some girl up there here this year. That's just going way too far. Playing God, karma will come back and get you for sure. So that's the world we're living in. Like I say, lots of broken flint everywhere. I want to do these walk and talks. You can leave a comment on anything I said. Like and comment, subscribe if you want to. Don't worry, I ain't ever going to try to sell you nothing on this channel. This is just so you can go arrowhead hunting with me. Because I might not be here forever, and after I'm gone, you can still go arrowhead hunting with me. You see where the water's all went all the way up here. It's about 15 feet up. We've had some gully washers, and we got rain coming the next 2 days. So this will all be gone. So that's why after a rain, you better get out there and look. Because once the next rains come, it'll be gone forever. As you can tell, I don't hear no sirens. Any cars beeping their horns. Stop nature, church of nature. Shut off your notifications on your phone so nobody can bother you. Tell people where you're going to, of course. When you're out here doing this by yourself, you'd fall and break an ankle and you didn't have a emergency transponder on you, which I recommend everybody getting. Not that I have one, but everybody should get one. They connect to satellites and they'll pinpoint your location if you're hurt. In this case, I'm being really careful. And if you broke your leg back in here, they'd play hell getting you out, that's for sure. So, and some phones I've heard, the new phones already have a transponder beacon built into them. So if you're ever in a bad position like that, you can signal and somebody will come and find you. Otherwise, you're on your own. Here you go, look at that bank all caved out. Water's a little high to be hunting, but this is the time to go. And like I say, we're going to get rain in a couple days. And everything here that is exposed won't even be here no more. There's probably nothing. We'll check it out. It's a piece of flint. Look at all those rocks, little bitty rocks all the way up that. That's what I picked up. That's what I seen. Nothing. It's called debitage. It could have been worked along that edge. Hard to tell. We'll keep it going. But yeah, like and subscribe if you want to. You don't have to. It's just so you can come with me. That's it. See what we find, because you never know. Find some really cool stuff. Like I said, being the first person to touch something that somebody's handled 5,000, 13,000 plus years ago, you're the first person to ever touch it. That's the addiction. It's one of the few addictions that are safe. You don't have to have a license for. Everything else here in the land of supposedly free, you have a license to go hunting, you name it, you gotta go. You get a license, pay. But artifact hunting is one of the few things you can still do for free, so get out and do it. Like I say, always ask for permission. I've came out of a creek before that I had permission in, and it had sold over the winter. And there was a sticker on my truck that said, please call the sheriff's department. So I called them, and they said, Jeff, we just want to tell you, we stayed there for your own protection because there was 4 guys waiting to whip your ass, which they'd had it to do. But anyway, yeah. You gotta watch it. They invented all these out-of-state hunters that moved here, which they never came. Everybody does. It used to be back in the day, you could go fishing, hunting, mushroom hunting, not asked permission because you knew everybody. And you take the old farmer some fish or some mushrooms, morel mushrooms or something. But with these new out-of-state hunters, they've even come up with new phrases. They call it shed poaching, which we'd never had that word around here ever. That's supposedly where you're going out taking their sheds, which most people who live around here, they got plenty of sheds. They really don't need to be stealing yours. So anyway, that's what you get into. You just don't know from year to year. So you got to check your plat books. Make sure you know who owns the land. Maybe even call the courthouse. Make sure it ain't sold. Make sure you still got permission to go. You definitely don't want a trespassing ticket. That's for sure. Well, we're at a 30-minute walk and talk time, getting close to the end. Just wanted to say hello to everybody. Like I say, you guys take care out there. Keep rocking. Rock hunting, enjoying nature, and it's a kindness revolution, as I say again and always. Be nice to somebody, especially the old veterans. Fought and died for us to keep our freedom in this country. You guys take care. God bless and keep it rocking. See you later. Bye-bye.